Welcome to Scorched Earth and a general reading for the sign of Capricorn, Sun, Moon or Ascendant for Taurus season, all the month of May, whatever your timing paradigm is. I hope you're well. I'm using the 777 Tarot for you today. Before we begin, first point, having some technological stroke weather issues at the moment, specifically with regard to the temperature, and I have been recording today and I've had several camera shutdown incidents. So you may lose my rubbery face at some point along this reading, but the overhead camera seems to be sticking with it. So just so you're aware, that's a thing. Other things to tell you: if the reading resonates and you would like to go a little bit deeper, there will be an extended that you can access at the end. That's via the description box below, links therein. The first link will take you to Self-I if you just want the extended for Capricorn. If you want access to all of the extended content that I do, that isn't just the extendeds for each of the signs, but also weekly energy readings and the opportunity to participate in the Deccan walk that we are doing over on my private community, rather, fucking hell, the Order of the Phoenix, then you might want to come join us over there. It is proving to be really quite extraordinary, actually. It is changing lives, and it's got this kind of group collaborative thing going on, but also deeply personal as well. And I think it is exceeding expectations at this point, which I'm really delighted about. So if you join at the higher level, you can come participate in the classes that we run over there and get access to all of the recordings of the previous classes as well. So if that sounds like it might be of interest to you, Circle is absolutely jam-packed, full of all sorts of things. So, anywho, let's flip the camera around and actually have a chat about what we're going to do here today. As I have been doing for the last few months, we're going to focus, first of all, on the most important question that you can ask yourself in 2026, which is simply, where am I right now? Not what am I afraid of, what do I, what apocalyptic vision is going to surface next in terms of, what my life might contain, but where am I right now? And from there, we will look to, somewhat inspired by the Deccan walk, actually, and the Taurus 1, 2 and 3 of the sun's progress through the astrological wheel and therefore the tarot. This moment here seems quite oriented around what we can change, right? What is within our power to control. First, we have to look at what we don't want, almost to some extent, and then see what we can change in terms of our orientation right now so that we don't end up there. And the way that I've been putting it to people is, whatever you're doing right now, whatever it is, whatever you're engaged in, however hard you're working or not working or whatever the case may be, right? The trajectory that you're on, would you like to still be doing what you're doing right now in 5 years' time? Maybe let's bring it even closer than that, 3 years' time, 1 year's time. In May 2027, do you want to be where you are right now? Or is there something that you could shift around in the here and now, bearing in mind that shifting your path just a minutest sliver of a degree will have you ending up somewhere very, very different in future. I don't need to tell you about that, Capricorn, right? And then looking around and seeing what is within our wheelhouse to control with that, right? And then the final question that we will ask, where we will close it out, is what is the next step? It's the second most important question you can ask yourself at this time, and I think anything else is frankly fucking irrelevant. So the next step, actioning what we looked at in the second set of cards there. No great big plans. No, I'm going to take over the world in May 2027. Any of that sort of thing. Like, we just need to know what the next step of anything is. So I hope that that's okay for you. That's what I have for you. And let's see what's going on with you. So can I have 3 cards for Capricorn, please? Oh, there's the first one, flying over there. We've got the Knight of Pentacles. That's Virgo energy. Whoa, we've got the 8 of Swords. One more card, please. And we've got the Seven of Cups on its side. And the interesting quality about that is the first thing that I feel when I look at it is, am I completely fucking deluded? Do I even know what's going on? And the question is sort of, the answer is sort of yes and no simultaneously. It feels like everything's incredibly fucking confusing. And yet within that incredibly confusing space is the key to the off-ramp, I guess, to the incredibly confusing space. Maybe part of what needs to happen here is a recontextualization of what it is you think you should be experiencing right now. You know, it's 2026. We're sitting in somewhat of a small lull. One might even say a bit of a plateau after the most intense astrology that any of us have experienced in a long time. And it is a very small lull in proceedings before it starts to crank up again. So we've got this Virgo energy here of the Knight of Pentacles, and this is very consistent, it's methodical, it does things in a particular way, and it always does things in a particular way, right? Because it wants to make sure that that pentacle right there arrives pristine at its destination. The problem is the routine aspect of what the Knight of Pentacles represents here is kind of coming up against effectively an energy of a time that's saying, no, the way that we have done things needs to change. We can't keep doing things the way that we always have done. And this is somewhat intensified by the fact, it just sort of putting to one side the fact that we're in a universal year one and a fire horse year, and all of the things that come from that. But intensified by the fact that we have the South Node sitting in the sign of Virgo right now. The South Node is a balancing place. It's really quite spiritual, where we're trying to work out through our discernment and wisdom what to keep and what to throw away. And what is quite interesting is that for quite a few signs, I have seen a resurgence of the themes of the nodes coming up at the moment. Usually that first point of ingress is quite a strong representation of the energy. We're kind of, clattered by the vibe shift. And indeed we will be in July when the North Node moves from the sign of Pisces into the sign of Aquarius. I think that's going to feel a little jarring somewhat. And then around about the halfway point, we have a resurgence of that energy, and it's kind of like, no, we really do have to turn in this direction. The North Node can be quite insatiable in terms of its desire for more of, whatever sign it's in at this point. But usually by the second half of the transit, we've kind of worked it all out enough that it's just putting everything in the right place. And weirdly, in this last week, I've seen this, like the North Node in Pisces resurfacing and demanding attention. But equally, the South Node in Virgo also resurfacing and saying, no, we have to take this up to the next level, and we have to cast out more. We have to jettison more from our little platform so that we can move forwards. And that doesn't feel to me like that's a standard showing up of the nodes, personally, right? So with a mere 2 months left of the South Node being in Virgo, we've got this kind of bringing it back up and saying the way that you've done things, it's not going to work moving forwards. We have to do things differently. The problem is that it's coming up against but I fucking don't know how to do it. I literally don't know how to do it any differently. It's like every way I keep trying to turn, I'm coming up against these 8 swords here. And sometimes I think I'm clear on it, sometimes I'm not sure. And for the most part, it's just kind of foggy and distorted. Like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? We'll talk about the Queen of Wands in a second, but I think there's a real benefit to seeing the 8 of Swords showing up here. In fact, I actually do really welcome it when I do it, when it comes up in my own readings, because what we've got in terms of what this 8 of Swords is representing is we're stuck in a cul-de-sac of our own mind, right? We've gone further and further and further in, and we're kind of shoehorned into this place where now we can't move. We're trapped in a cage. But what I really love about this card is it's got the solution baked into it too. And this is why I love it. So when this card shows up, we reclaim our power, because it's an 8, by testing what we think. We go back to first principles and we start looking at the assumptions that we've made along the way, because you would surprise yourself how many times you do skirt over the top of things that you assume must stay like that. They are intractable, they are immutable, they cannot be changed at all. The reality is that's not always true. In fact, more often than not, that's not true. Sometimes, you know, there has been an option for an off-ramp or an exit or something like that, but the cost has been something that we haven't wanted to pay. Now, it's very, very different to I literally can't do anything. And sometimes when we're in this state for long enough, when we go back and have a look at what we thought was an unacceptable alternative, what we find is it is actually preferable to sitting in this cage where we have been for a while, right? Now, in terms of, you know, what this could represent, it is not only solutions to issues, but it's everything right up to challenging our own belief systems on things. You know, is the evidence supporting what our belief system is trying to tell us is true? And quite often, being as the whole sword suit is a lurch towards cognitive crisis, what we start to realise is, no, it's not borne out by the evidence. You know, we've been kind of... I have a friend who teaches sometimes in circle, and he once gave me a definition of belief, which I have rolled around a lot over the years. I tried to find a way to break it because that's what my mind does, right? And his definition was, belief is an idea plus emotion. I've tried to break it. I can't. It works, and it works really, really well. And so some of the things that we hold as self-evident are actually coming from an emotional attachment we have to the idea rather than the idea itself, right? And whatever the emotional attachment is and however it's formed or whatever, you know, you can certainly dig around in that and find reasons why that would be the case. But it also explains why sometimes when we're trying to challenge our own paradigm, it can feel so overwhelming. Because there's a whole emotional component that we haven't really considered as to why we believe that thing in the first place, right? Now, I really like the energy of the Queen of Wands here, and I actually even really like the fact that she's holding that flaming torch there, because she seems to be here to provide illumination on not what we're doing exactly, but the underpinning reasons as to why we are doing that. The Queens for me will represent the internal subjective experience of X, right? So they help us understand the element that they represent. In terms of the Queen of Wands, I mean, she will have some input on what we're doing, but she's much more interested in the why we're doing that, the underlying motivations, like what is the ultimate benefit of doing things this way, and why have I chosen to do it this way? When it comes to working out how you're supposed to walk forwards at the moment, when everything seems unclear and foggy, she is actually a very welcome energy at this time. But you have to understand that the result of the interference, but right, the appearance rather of the Queen of Wands is that there is something that's going to be challenged about the way that you do things. She's not here to just simply confirm what you have already always known, or to pat you on the head and say, yes, no, your beliefs are correct. She's not here to do that. I mean, if nothing else, she represents Aries energy, which we know squares you, Capricorn. So you can expect some friction with whatever it is that she is illuminating at this time. Let's have a look at the Eight of Swords. Right. We've got the Ten of Pentacles. And we've got the Eight of Wands with the Wheel of Fortune at the bottom of the deck now. So I always think the Ten of Pentacles is both a joy and sometimes feels like a punishment to Capricorn. Capricorn's very resourceful, and as we know, they represent the cardinal energy at the beginning of the Pentacles suit, right? So 2, 3, 4 of Pentacles, these are the big push that Capricorn can make to start something new. Cardinal is pointing in a direction, just as Aries is pointing in a direction, just happens to be 90 degrees away from you. Yes, 90 degrees away. And the reason why I feel like the Ten of Pentacles is sometimes problematic for Capricorn, never used to be, but it certainly is now, is because what Capricorn wants to do is help the Ace of Pentacles achieve its full potential, right? To get to that state of culmination. Capricorn likes stability, security, and to some extent some predictability as well. And it doesn't have to look like everybody else's security, stability, and predictability. Because let's not forget, right, you're a mountain goat. You can go up a sheer mountain face. What phases other people would not phase you. And, the slow-moving energy of the Pentacles means that you are prepared for things to take a long time. You are prepared to have to work hard pretty much that whole cycle of Pentacles to get something done. That doesn't faze you. That's not a problem. But I think there is an issue here around the Ten of Pentacles conceptually, and the ability of you to get there from where you are right now. Why? Because the rules have changed. They're not the same. Quite literally got the Knight of Pentacles going here. Well, this is the way that we've always done it, and it's worked. We work hard, we set ourselves a target, we set ourselves a goal, and we just keep going for it. And it's not happening now. I can't see how to make it happen. It's like no matter how much energy you put into it, it seems to get further and further away. And there's something actually a little bit distressing about the way that that's showing up. Because normally, you would set the target, set the goal, set the achievement, block out all external kind of distractions, and just get your head down and go. And I do wonder if it's because the nature of the Ten of Pentacles and what you want from the Ten of Pentacles is actually changing and shifting around right now anyway. I mean, we've got these ones at the bottom of the deck here. You'll notice it's another card numbered 8. So there's there are issues of personal power around here. And it represents Mercury and Sagittarius. So we have communication, fast-moving communication, perhaps digital, email, message, stuff like that, DMs. Sometimes this card can represent that, but you'll notice that these wands look like they're coming into land, right? They're coming to hit a target. Normally this would be something that that works really well for Capricorn. Yes, okay, we're heading towards the target, going to hit it really soon. But it's I almost want to put these cards like this. It's like these wands are going straight over the target and they're landing somewhere else. And it feels to me like you can't work out for the life of you how they end up totally missing this, except that the very nature of this and everything that it represents that is so important to you is at this point now shifting and morphing and changing in front of you. It seems to be lacking the stability upon which you have been able to rely up until this point. Oh, maybe it's been changing for a little while, right? I'm going to leave those cards like that there because I think that really nails how I'm feeling about them. It's like it's missing the target. And then we have this Wheel of Fortune here. Now, there are lots of ways to read the Wheel of Fortune, but I think quite often, and it's down to the fixed signs that are represented in the corner of the card. So we've got Scorpio here, Aquarius, Taurus, and Leo. Sat reading books. Look at this. I don't know if you've ever seen this before. They're studying. Well, what does that mean? It means that what happens now, what is happening now, is to some extent a bit of a teaching moment. And we fucking hate it. I just think we're really, really not enjoying it. Why? Because we're not really getting it yet. everything feels really foggy. Everything feels really confusing. And we just want to get our head down and work in a direction, right? Just want to get our head down and create, perhaps. Want something to work towards. But if you keep working towards something and then, you're missing it, it's sort of undermining the point of working for it in the first place. And this feels like it's got you going around in circles with yourself, trying to work out what's wrong and how to fix this. I mean, like all the earth signs, Capricorn is incredibly resourceful. And like I said at the beginning, they're not particularly deterred by something being hard. But there's a fairly standard, hard work equals results that Capricorn has always followed. And I think, pretty systematically throughout your entire life, you've taken that approach with things. And then we've got this, this emotional confusion showing up here. And we've also got what may well feel like the intrusion of the Queen of Wands and the Aries energy. And they're trying to shine a light on all sorts of things. And you're like, I'm feeling the friction of this. I don't really want this. And yet, I don't think you're wholesale resisting anything at the moment, Capricorn. I think that would be an incorrect assertion to make. But at the same time, I don't think you really like the way that things are panning out right now, because there's too much chaos in the middle of all of it. And we can look around at the world at large, outside of us, and go, yeah, everything's kind of chaotic out there, but it's okay because I can lean into my own personal order. But it seems that the personal order is being somewhat tainted by that same chaotic energy. And what does it mean? Really struggling with what it means, and more importantly, perhaps for you, what can be done about it? Where could this possibly be taking us that is good? That's what I'm feeling about this. Let's have a little look at this Seven of Cups. Why is this Seven of Cups here for Capricorn? Oh, wow. Ten of Swords. And the Devil and the King of Swords. Interesting. That's really, really interesting. Well, something's completing here. I don't think that you like it, and it's certainly not completing in the way that you would like it to complete. But we got two cards that are numbered 10 now. 3 if you include the Wheel of Fortune, which was the shadow card at the bottom of the deck, which is definitely talking about, the wheel turning, if you will. But then we also have the Devil, which is a kind of illusory energy anyway, but has a particular specificity because it is the card that represents Capricorn in the major arcana. So now we're starting to look at questions of identity too, and that is always awkward. Let's just put it that way, awkward, right? If we can be objective about this, it's not fun. And yet there seems to be this push from the King of Swords to make a decision off the back of something that is changing in front of you. Almost like trying to run on a sand dune, if you've ever done that. Where it's like the shifting sands kind of rob you of all your energy as you're just trying to keep yourself upright. The difference in running through through a wood on a nice trail versus trying to run on a sand dune is extraordinary. You feel like you're getting nowhere fast, and as soon as you've kind of think you should be hitting some sort of level ground, it's all moving again in front of you. Like, where's the stability and the security in all of that? I think all of this is a recipe for great frustration, actually. So what is actually the issue here that Capricorn has to look at? Right, we've got the Page of Pentacles. Oh, we have the Tower, and we've got the Ace of Pentacles with the Ten of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. So actually, I think this is incredibly positive, although it may not necessarily feel exactly like that at the moment while it's going on. The crux of the issue is actually around the starting. We have both the Ace and the corresponding Page of Pentacles showing up, both of them indicating new starts in some way or another, right? But where the pages and the aces differ is the level of intensity that they bring. So the page will deal with scaffolding, what we already know, and adding more information to that around what we value and the importance of investment and you know, that sort of thing. But the ace is the opportunity to really focus our attention on something new. Now this actually puts it into your ballpark really, really well, Capricorn, because you know, you are the sign that takes the Ace of Pentacles and expands it beyond its current potentialized state. 2, 3, 4 of Pentacles. These are Capricorn cards. And we have the 10 of Pentacles there at the bottom of the deck. So we have the understanding that actually everything that has always been your capacity to do, you still have it, but something really fundamental has to change about the way that you engage with these. And that's the thing that's causing the problem right now. And it's like you can have anything you want, Capricorn, and you can lean into all the skill set that you already have for all of this, but there's something about the way that you action this or you approach this or whatever that needs some adjustment. Now, if we were to take, you know, this and say that the way that you're trying to action things is actually sailing over the top of the target and it's not hitting it at all. And these were cards that came up to clarify this. Then we know that there's something about the way that you are viewing your own paradigm right now, which is actually kind of cutting your legs out from underneath you. Maybe it's the level of frustration that you feel. Maybe it's the feeling that you need to rush this to actually get back to a place that you feel comfortable. I can assure you nobody in 2026 is feeling that comfortable right now, right? There's too many things are changing. But I wonder if it is... It doesn't, like, I'm never going to accuse a Capricorn of skipping steps because that's not what you do. But I wonder if the thing that needs to fundamentally change with you is not your hyperfixation on the end result. Right? That is the thing that needs to change, maybe, right? So you know how to engage with the Page of Pentacles because there is a very set, clear, defined process by which you can get from there to its ultimate fulfillment over there, right? Very clear, very linear in your own head. And yes, there will be problems, but with enough preparation and hard work and all that kind of thing, we can sidestep them, we can overcome them, it's all absolutely fine. Except that it's very future facing. Now that ordinarily is not a massive problem. But we're not in ordinary times, and so now it is becoming a massive problem because it's taking your focus away from the right here, right now. What have you got? What can you work with? Not for the achievement of some distant goal or the establishment of some whatever, the full realization of the Pentacle potential. Very clearly defined in your head what that looks like. I think maybe what needs to change, Capricorn, get that out, is why you're doing. It was back to the Queen of Wands. Why are you doing the thing? There's a certain joy in fulfillment, achievement, completion, for sure. But think about all the things that you've worked so hard for in your life, Capricorn, right? It's always been towards that carrot of completion. But when you've actually got there, do you feel anything other than a sense of kind of relief that you don't have to do that bit anymore, right? That bit's completed. Is there really a sense of joy in what you've achieved? And I speak to you now as a Capricorn ascendant, right? Because I am recognising somewhat of my own a way of being in here, right? And it is that, like, thank fuck for that, I did it, I can move on to the next thing, right? And I instantly move the goalposts on myself. I don't take any time to enjoy the achievement, I just go, fuck, okay, it's done, that's it. And then I immediately do something else, and I apply that same kind of energy to it. Now, you've got the energy of the new all over this, and you've got big breakthrough energy with the Tower sitting right in the middle. What seems to be problematic, though, is how you can engage with a pentacle that has shifted around quite literally 90 degrees from where you would like it to be. It's like the way that we engage with the attention and the, whatever we input into the Ace of Pentacles has to change. Because there isn't a clear, defined end. I mean, what these cards are saying to me, Capricorn, is that it's time to start engaging with things simply for the love of engaging with them, rather than for the long-term result that you think that it will bring. You know, we've talked before. We talked about it many times, about how Capricorn tends to like put on the blinkers and just like go. This is how you get loads of shit done, right? But it comes at the exclusion of other things. And we've spent years talking about this. Is this a point where we have to take the blinkers off altogether and go, okay, well, I'm going to start engaging with things that I enjoy simply for the sake of enjoying them. That's it. With no end goal in mind, end destination in mind, end state in mind. Actually, just for the love of what I can see here. Right? The joy of learning, perhaps. The joy of creating, perhaps. There's something very unstructured about the way that you're being asked to work with something that is really pissing you off. And yet it's so obviously the right thing to do here, in terms of disrupting the internal order so that it can change and grow. I'm not sure that your own sense of internal order is doing enough heavy lifting to warrant holding on to it so hard, because ultimately you are feeling like this and you are feeling like this, and maybe if the action, the activity, the investment of your mental energy into something keeps sailing over the top of even an idea of what you might want to achieve at the end of it, then maybe that needs to come out of the equation altogether. This is not about orienting yourself towards an end point. It's about engagement for the sake of it. I always think there's the intensity on this page's face here. It looks remarkably like my son, interestingly enough. But and who is a Scorpio ascendant, so like that level of intensity on his face is an expression that I recognise. You know, he's looking at that, and it's the love of investing attention into something. It's the love of being with something creative. It's not about what this will turn into. It's about the love of being in the moment right now. And I can think of no greater disruption to not only your internal order, but actually the status quo that you're stuck in that is really pissing you off right now. The Tower's ability to send you off in a 90-degree angle, which would, just saying, put you perfectly in alignment with the Ace of Pentacles. Then doing something simply because you love it. Not because there will be an end result at the end. Not because there will be an improved, resources and stability and security and all that kind of thing. We're talking about a total subversion of your process. But one that allows for growth where it isn't currently permitted in your mindset. Are you following what I'm saying, Capricorn? Because while we're in a period where we're all experiencing a consciousness shift, we have to create a little bit of space. And the self-flagellation, the discipline, the cracking of the whip over yourself to get from Ace to Pentacle back to Ace to 10, back to Ace again, up to 10 again. Right, the grind, the hamster wheel. That's not a consciousness shift for you. That's just how you know how to do life. We're talking about something very unstructured here, and it feels much more like play than it does serious endeavour, and that's possibly why you're resisting it so hard. Because it feels playful. And somewhere within you, you have associated playfulness with childishness. And that's never been something that's been allowed for you, right? This is the way that the world works. If you want to get ahead, this is what you have to do. I once read Capricorn's age in reverse. No, physically, obviously. The grey hair and the muscular collapse will attend to that, right? But mentally, emotionally, spiritually, because Capricorn's kind of born with like an old man looking out from behind the eyes of the child, right? It's very serious. Things have to be done properly. And as Capricorn begins to loosen up as they get older, when they realise that actually there is very little that is satisfying. No. Satisfying, yes. Emotionally fulfilling, creatively fulfilling, no. About the very structured way that they do things. Yeah, we talked about this before. You're kind of feeling like you've been lied to because you did everything right and then you got there and it was like, well, there's still a fucking hole in me that I thought was going to be filled. Where, what do I do now? So over time, as that rigid adherence to the structure begins to soften, there's more room for the internal child to come play and be creative. And that's where your creativity is, Capricorn. It's not in your conscious mind, it's in your subconscious. I was listening to a podcast, I forget who it was, interviewing Jordan Peterson the other day, and I know he's a divisive figure, but I think he's said a lot of things that are very fucking useful to people. And I'm always open to hear what he has to say about things. And he was talking about how he'd been thinking about what the opposite of tyranny was. And he said, in any state, right, whether it's government or, any kind of authority, any kind of institution, remember you have an active interest in authority. It's built into the archetype of your sign, right? And he said, everybody would assume that it's freedom, liberation, that sort of thing. He said, it's not. It's play. And I went, oh my God, that's genius. And he went on to explain, but I kind of got it straight away. He's like, where tyrannical conditions exist, play is the first thing to go, right? So whether that tyranny is of, your government being awful to you, whatever, or it is the tyranny of being a small, sensitive child born to an emotionally distant parent who only looks at you properly when you bring some sort of honour to the house, do you know what I mean, by way of the achievements that you did at school. That's a kind of tyranny. Where is the room for play in all of that? There isn't. There is none. And I see what's cracking here is the tyranny of your own approach to yourself, Capricorn. Like, I can't engage in things that feel creative and nice for me because those are childish things. And we don't do that here. Structure, order, authority, discipline, all that kind of thing. But the reason why this is such a fucking turning point for you is that a lot of the things that you've been pursuing for the longest time are actually available only to you if you follow this route versus the well-travelled, well-refined, structured stuff that actually the universe is trying to tell you to boost off. Now, it's not that that this will never prove to be useful for you, because I think there will be a point where that skill set will come to bear. But in the first instance, it's the joy of investing your attention without having a clearly defined goal as to where that will end. And this can go as much for the people that you spend time with as creative projects, as what you do for a job. You know, what you do to relax and wind down. Do you relax and wind down, Capricorn? Or must you be productive every single fucking minute of the day? I can see something really fucking significant happening here for you, Capricorn. Really significant. So what is the next step for Capricorn, please? There's 1. Let's have a look. Ooh. 2 and 3. We have the 7 of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. That is the decan of Taurus that we are in right now, right? The tarot card that represents the decan of Taurus. We have the Strength card. We have the 6 of Wands. And the 6 of Cups reversed, actually the other way around, right? But like, who? That's really interesting. Leo card, interestingly, Scorpio card there. And the reason why this is interesting is because Leo as a sign is associated with play, children, the inner child, the silliness. If you know a Leo, right, they have many sides to them. One side will be, you know, strong and leader and all this kind of thing, but then you put them with children. Put a Leo with children and see what happens. Honestly, it's immediate, it's instantaneous. The Leo will start instigating all sorts of silly games that are probably involve a lot of running around and chasing and monsterism and all that sort of stuff. Right, the 5th house, which Leo natively rules, is associated with play and creativity and creative self-expression and just doing something, engaging with something because it feels right to do so. You know, when a child starts running around, it's not thinking, right, okay, I'm getting my VO2 max up to something here and then I'll be able to do all of these things. No, it just runs for the sake of running, for the love of running. And if somebody's chasing them, all the fucking better. You know, when they pick up crayons and pencils and think, when they start doing a thing, quite often they have absolutely no idea what it's going to fucking turn into. They're just enjoying the tactile nature of engaging with the world. Children learn through play. And if that internal tyranny has stopped you from ever playing, then you can't possibly understand the value of it, right? But it also stifles your creativity. Now, what's really interesting about this is we have the Strength card representing growth right here. We have the 6 of Wands, Jupiter in Leo, representing success. Different kind of success to the 10 of Pentacles, but success nonetheless. And then we have the 6 of Cups here, which is a turning away from our previous understanding of children and childhood from the past, right? 6 of Cups here can talk about past, it can talk about children, it can talk about your children, it can talk about you as a child, it can talk about past life things, right? And it is younger, simpler, less complex, more emotionally balanced times that we yearn for as adults, right? But in light of everything that I've said to you here today, what we have instead is a recognition that your understanding of childhood was undermined. Your experience of childhood was undermined. And so you don't have a full appreciation of it. So whatever you think about children and childhood and all that kind of thing, it's getting revisited here so that you can leave it behind and grow creatively in a different direction. I mean, this is extraordinary, Capricorn. Like, and I understand that the unstructured nature of it and but what is the point? is going to feel very uncomfortable. But I don't think you've ever really had an opportunity to let your pure creativity out. And this feels like a very important change in the way that you do things to allow you to explore that. You know, we already know it's growth right there. This is fascinating. I just realised I've been fucking prattling on for ages. So I'm going to go now. Go to the extended. If you would like to join me over there, you're very welcome to do so. You can do that on Selfie, you can do that on Circle. I'd be delighted to see you in either place as well, you know. Yes, needs to relinquish the whip a little bit, Capricorn. And if you feel a little bit silly with the play, then it's probably an indication that you're going in exactly the right direction, you know, because what is currently won't do moving forwards. So know that I love you all very, very much, and I'll see you soon.